Hey friend, welcome back to Real Talk with Real Nurses about real issues. And today we're going to be talking about the question, do you need more education? As nurses, I think that we value education tremendously, and sometimes to a fault. I think that some of us think that we need to have every single letter of the alphabet behind our name before we ever do what we want to do. What has your experience been, guys, with the whole needing more education thing in your career?
My honest opinion, I wish I'd never done it. It was a waste of time. It was a waste of money, and it did not get me what I wanted. It was one of those expensive expectations not met experiences.
So are you talking about your nursing education, or are you talking beyond nursing education?
I'm talking about specifically my bachelor's degree. And we could go into the $30,000 in 2 years that I spent learning how to run a business. I feel like there was some value in that, maybe not $30,000 in 2 years worth of value. But in terms of my bachelor's degree, I decided way back in high school when I was like, I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to be a bachelor's prepared nurse. Like, that was the decision that I made. And I followed that through to the end to a fault without any idea of what that was actually going to provide for me. And I was like, oh, it's going to provide opportunity. But it provides opportunity in areas that I don't want opportunity in. I don't want to be in management. What I discovered was that what I really wanted was to just genuinely help people and help people thrive. And getting a bachelor's degree in nursing did not serve that desire. It was a very misguided decision, and it was an expensive one that didn't get me what I wanted.
I have to second that, because I felt the same way. I felt like, okay, I'm going to get a 4-year college degree because that's what you do. You get a 4-year college degree, right? So I got my associates, I started working, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to get my bachelor's, and I heard I'd get a raise. I said, ooh, that's cool. Guess what, guys? I got a 25-cent raise for getting my bachelor's.
I got 75 cents for mine.
Ooh,
I got zero.
I went straight for the bachelor's, and here's kind of my counterpoint to this, and this is just from a pure nursing perspective, is I'm glad I got my bachelor's because of one reason. It was because I wanted a certain level of experience. I heard now, because I'm an ICU nurse, is they're reluctant to hire non-bachelor nurses into hospitals because they want to achieve magnet status. So if you're
sorry, I just have to interrupt you, because the truth is they might desire for that to be happening, but nursing is so ridiculously short-staffed that they don't have a choice. They're like, you have a pulse and an RN, you're hired. It doesn't matter whether or not you have a bachelor's degree right now. And that's just the truth of the situation of the nursing profession. Is it doesn't matter. You're hired.
I think, Jessica, that you asked a very valid question, which is, what do you expect at the end of that rainbow, right? And I believe that in nursing, as I mentioned, education is very highly valued. There's this correlation between being a professional and having more education. And so therefore, if you don't have enough education, then you're not truly enough of a professional. I feel like that's kind of the vibe that I get within the nursing world. And so I kind of felt pressured. I mean, at first I always just thought I'm going to get a 4-year college degree because you just get it. But guess what? I got to a point where I felt a little bit lost. I was like, I want something different. And I knew I wanted something different, and I didn't know exactly what that was. And I was looking and searching, and I looked into even leaving nursing. I looked into nutrition. I looked into corporate wellness. It was more schooling. Ultimately, I decided I would become a nurse practitioner because I thought, well, I'll just kind of leverage the current education I have. Well, I don't want to take a pay cut, right? I want something different, so maybe that means I need more education. I was that person, and I invested another 3 years of my life only to find out it wasn't what I wanted. It was not what I wanted. And I just hear so many nurses, they're like, okay, I'm going back for my BSN. Why? Why are you doing that? Seems like the next thing. What does that mean? Why do you think we think that?
Can I chime in here?
Yes.
This is my, this is kind of my thing, right? Like, I became a nurse, grateful for it. It was great. I have to say that, right? But I got burned out, and I didn't like where healthcare was going. I didn't like that. And I saw a bunch of people, and I continue to see a bunch of people do this, is I call it over-educating their way out of nursing, where they basically are like, man, being a floor nurse or whatever at this level is hard. I got to figure something out because I can't do this for the next 20 years of my life. So the next logical thing in the mind is like, let me get my master's in education or master's. And, nurse practitioners, love them, no, I don't mean anything by it, but it's kind of another tier of nursing where you're at that level where I wouldn't want it. Believe me, I took like 2 courses. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing this. And I have nurses now that are clients, I help people get healthy and change their lifestyle, and they're working like 2 jobs, working on a doctorate. And I'm like, well, why are you doing that? And they're like, well, they're hoping there's this magic rainbow of time freedom, of more money, and all of this stuff.
More meaning.
In more meaning, right? Because they're burnt out. Because as nurses, you want to help people, and you're like a marathon sprint if you're a nurse now. I tell people that. I get it. I've been there. I've done that. So that's kind of my thing. I call it over-educating the escape.
So the question is, if you're looking for an escape, is more education the path? Really, if your ultimate goal is to become a nurse anesthetist, that has been your lifelong dream, guess what? You need more education. You need more education, right? Because that's at the end of the rainbow, that's what you wanted. You need to do it. But the question is, when you're investing time and you're investing money and you're investing resources and you're taking that time away from family and creating other memories, and what do you expect at the end of the rainbow? Do you expect a greater pay? Do you expect greater flexibility? Do you expect greater autonomy? Do you expect, and I've had this conversation with other nurses that are looking to go into becoming a nurse practitioner, and over and over and over, I hear them telling me, I want more autonomy. You're not going to get any more autonomy. I'm going to tell you what, I just got off the phone with a fellow nurse practitioner of mine that runs her own practice, and she's telling me how she cannot take time off in April of next year, because she doesn't have anybody to stay at her practice, because she runs her own practice, which means she would have a lot more autonomy, right? But now she doesn't have any more freedom. She can't plan for April. We are in December. And so I hear all these nurses wanting to go back for nurse practitioner because they're looking for more of that. My challenge is really gain some clarity surrounding what is it that you're looking for, because I did that. I didn't have clarity. I knew I wanted something in where I wanted to help people thrive in life. I wanted to help people be healthy. I just didn't know it was called coaching. I didn't know that's what it was called. And so I thought it meant I needed to become a nurse practitioner, and so many people are kind of in that boat. Have you guys met anyone like that?
Totally. Well, the other thing too is, like, say you Google, and nurses are great. I did this. I have to say this. I'm Googling, like, what can I do in nursing? Like, you Google this, right? And you'll start to like, hey, I want to be a certified nurse, health coach, whatever title, right? And it could be a certified, like, organic, goji berry certification nurse, right? And just kind of Google this, and they'll find some website that says you need X, Y, and Z, and they'll spend all this cash to try to do this so they could become the expert. And that's kind of another a mindset that, hey, I had to break that when I first started coaching, that, it didn't have to be that complicated. You could help people right away. Would you guys agree?
Yep.
If you have the right tools, if you have the right structure, you have the right vehicle, As a nurse, you got the education already. You know what you need to know to be able to help somebody. What you probably don't know is how to find the people that need help, how to get paid for helping them, and how to structure a system to deliver results. That's usually what the missing pieces are, but that doesn't necessarily require more schooling. Does it, guys?
No, actually, I paid to go to Goji Berry school. I'm a certified Goji Berry expert. And, and it did not get me out of my nursing job, which was what I was looking to create a business coaching. And so I thought, I must need more initials behind my name because that's got to be the answer. So I educated myself and got some more initials behind my name to become a certified nurse coach and a wellness educator. And that's my version of Goji Berry School. And, you know, I spent money and time and energy. And guess what? At the end of my Goji Berry certification, I didn't help anybody. I didn't know how to create a business. I didn't have anybody mentoring me. And that was the biggest downfall for really. So, whether you're doing it traditionally, you know, inside getting a nurse practitioner or additional certifications that way, or you're doing something more holistic, just because you have the certification and the letters behind your name doesn't really mean that you're going to make money doing that.
Or that you're going to make the difference you wanted to make.
No, it doesn't.
And we're speaking, all of us are speaking from experience. And we're just kind of saying, hey guys, don't make the same mistakes we did, right? I went the route of getting my master's. Shelly went to Goji Berry school. And Jessica went to business school, right? And each one of us were looking for something. We were looking for something. And we didn't find it with more education, did we?
No, I was thinking about what Shelly was saying, and I was looking for a Goji Berry University. I live in New England. I actually researched, and NYU had a holistic health nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
So interesting was my mother was a teacher. She made this one comment to me. She goes, if you're going to advance your education, ensure it's going to pay for itself wellfold in what you're going to do. And I looked at it and I called them. I actually went as far as saying, hey, I'm interested in your Goji Berry education. and do you help people line up jobs? Do you help people get plugged in? And it wasn't, yeah, we have a class, but there's no proof in the pudding on that. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. It's funny, as Shelly was saying, I'm like, oh my God, I actually did that a while ago. And thank God I found Donnie and found something that really worked and helped and created that. So that's something
that I definitely challenge people to, I think that's such great advice. Was it your mom that said that, Todd?
My mom that said that to me, yep.
So good. Make sure that if you're going to advance your education, that it's going to pay for itself, right? Because my quarter raise for my BSN did not pay for itself. I'm going to tell you for that much right there. It did not pay for itself. And so think about what life you're looking to live. And I think that a lot of businesses, they prey on nurses and on the value we place on education. They prey on that and they keep saying, you need another degree, you need another certification, you need another degree, and you need another certification. And so the question is, do you really, to do what you really want to do? The question is, what is it that you really want to do? And is it really about what you're doing, or is it about the life you're creating? And those two are two different things. They can be blurred a little bit, but sometimes we become so focused on, I would love to start IVs on the left arm, just on this one specific thing, right? This is how I want to do my living, right? Is it really about the task that you're doing, or is it about the life that it's creating for you, right?
Well, what I love about what you just said is I think for all four of us, we were all looking to create something different for our personal lives, right? We were looking for more time freedom. We were looking for more flexibility. We were looking for more purpose. We were looking for more balance. We were looking for a sense of fulfillment. And within the culture of the nursing profession, there's this humongous misunderstanding that the only way to get those things is more education. And what we're finding on the back end of that education is that it's an empty promise, because it's not getting us that transformation, that lifestyle, that sense of fulfillment, purpose, balance, joy, right? That we're really looking for. And that's definitely what I found in my experience is going back to school didn't get me what I truly wanted. And I think for me, I think it was just a misunderstanding. Like I knew what I wanted and I was like, education is the way to get it, because that is the misunderstanding of our profession, is the only way to get that is through education. And what I have found is that that's absolutely not true. And if I knew what I knew now, then I would never have gotten my bachelor's degree and I would never have gone to business school. I would have gotten outside of that box way sooner, way faster, hit the ground running, because outside of the box is where it's at. That is the vehicle, the tools, the system that has truly allowed all four of us to create that life that we want, to get paid to help people in the way that we want to help people, to have that sense of joy, freedom, time flexibility, financial flexibility, health, the whole package. Outside the box is where it's at. And I'm telling you, it doesn't cost $1 million in a million years of your life to do it.
No, we're actually kicking off a course next week of launching your coaching business in 7 days. 7 days, because you've got the education that you need. You already have the basics. Now, how do you launch a business? And we support you in doing just that. You don't need to have umpteen degrees. You know, I met a nurse practitioner once that had 2 master's degrees and something like 5 certifications because she wanted to launch her own coaching business. She had been working on building her website, I want to say for like 3 or 4 years. And yet all this time she was working in hospice. I mean, at least 5 years working in hospice, hoping to get into wellness. Nothing wrong with working in hospice, right? If that's what you want to do, if that's where what lights your soul on fire. But if you're hoping to get into wellness, there's a very good chance that hospice is not doing that for you, right? And she had spent thousands and thousands of dollars, and she had so many letters behind her name, and she did not have the life that she wanted. And, you know, when I stop and think about someone like Mark Zuckerberg, right? He doesn't have umpteen letters behind his name, but he has umpteen zeros on his bank account.
You know what? I got to say
Trade
something.
those initials for zeros, people. That's the moral of the story today.
The zeros, right? You know what's funny?
We will teach you how to trade your initials behind your name for zeros in your bank account.
on your checking account, right?
But this is, and it's not just about the zeros, it's about the impact those zeros are making, right?
You know what those zeros do? They allow me to do my passion. Because guess what? If I didn't have zeros in my bank account, guess what I'd be doing today? Not talking to you.
Right.
I'd be working as a nurse.
You'd be pushing a red cart.
That's right. I'd be dealing out some you know,
Drugs.
some drugs right now. I'd be hanging some IVs. I'd be answering call lights. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this. Would not be helping people with their health. And so what those zeros in my bank account allow me to do is they allow me to actually to keep helping people. That's what they allow me to do.
I love that show. Donnie said something that just hit me. I was confessions of an escape nurse trying to escape is I was a serial domain name buyer and website try-to builder. And, and let me unpack this. Is like I came up with all of these ideas and things that I was going to do. And I actually had an accountability partner, and we would laugh. And now I know better. but it was a way for me not to actually get what I wanted. It was a form because I didn't know what the heck to do. I was like, I had this idea and we'll see if it grows or what have you, right? To just try to escape. And it's almost the same category as being over busy, you know, because that could be an escape too. And what I love about what we've done is we're all help each other. We all walk alongside simple stuff. Actually, websites don't work. And we actually help people and teach as you go, OJT, on the job training, rather than I need to study all this stuff up and be super perfect. Because the nursing mentality is if I make a mistake, it's going to be a nightmare.
Gonna kill someone. Really, it's a scary thought.
It is. So I have to make that confession that I was a serial domain name buyer. And it's kind of crazy, but it kind of lends itself to this topic because I have a lot of nurses too that are like, hey, I just want to teach yoga to nurses. You know what I mean? And if they unpack that, they're probably in this caught of stress right now and they see all of their colleagues stressed. A, they want to help them. B, create something for themselves. But, you know, I don't think you could put a ton of Zuckerberg zeros in by doing yoga with nurses. Maybe, but I don't think.
Well, what we do.
But if you wore leather pants while you were doing it.
Leather pants.
That's an inside joke, guys. Sorry. I couldn't help it.
But what we do at Nursing Outside the Box is we help nurses do what you were talking about, Todd, is build something for themselves while offering value to the world and creating the life that they want, so that we actually pour into nurses so that nurses can pour into others from the overflow. And a lot of times nurses come thinking, okay, so how do I launch a business? And they're so overly stressed writing down, you know, all the steps of how to start a business. And I'm like, okay, let's kind of talk about you for a minute. Let's talk about you. Where are you in your own personal health journey? Body, mind, all of that. How can we help you first? That's where we start. Can you imagine working in an environment where you're kind of on the spotlight and we're kind of all about helping you get what you want? That's what we're about. That's what we do at Nursing Outside the Box.
Oh my gosh. I just completely thought of Shawshank Redemption, right? Like he got in the Shawshank and all he could think of was getting out, right? Like he had a very clear vision of what he wanted to do. And in the process of that, he figured out a method and he got himself some tools. And all he had to do was keep doing the work day after
consistently.
Day. And that's exactly what we do here is like you voluntarily incarcerated yourself in a profession that is no longer serving you. Like, here's the pickaxe. I'm going to go distract the guard. All you guys. I got the guard covered, girl. In 6 months, you're going to be out.
You know, we are here to serve those nurses. Okay, the nurses that feel trapped, the nurses that feel stuck, okay? We're not here trying to take the nurses that are finding life in nursing, okay? The nurses that are finding their life in nursing, we celebrate you and we thank you for what you do because we need you. The world needs you. And we just, our mission is just to help people thrive in the world. And so if you happen to be a nurse that is thriving in nursing, props and fist bump to you.
And please don't leave, because we want somebody to be there. If we're like in an accident or something, we want nurses to be there to take care of us.
Dude, last
so
Thanksgiving.
If you love it, please stay there.
Please do, and do the amazing job that you do on Thanksgiving. Yes. My nephew cracked his head open and needed 4 staples on his head. And I was so grateful for the health professionals that were there on Thanksgiving, right? So we want to thank you if you love what you do. But for the nurses that are feeling restless, you're feeling like something's a little off and you're starting to ask yourself, do I need to go back to school? What will you say, Todd? What would you say if someone's thinking they're feeling a little restless and they're asking, should I go back to school?
Oh, just say no. Don't overeducate your escape. don't overeducate. We should do a total thing on nursing outside the box, a banner. Don't overeducate your escape.
There it is. Jessica,
You know,
can you-
I'm just thinking about a physician that I know who was a nurse before he was a physician. And he actually was trying to escape nursing and thought he was going to do that by becoming a physician. Guess what he found out? Didn't work.
Oh man, that's so disappointing. That's like, oh my gosh, I just chiseled into the cell next door. I'm not free.
Yeah. And now he's buried in debt, school debt. And now he sees his incarceration as so big that he cannot even dream of escaping. Sometimes I seriously worry, about him because of that. And so, anyway,
there are so many nurse practitioners that I know that are in the same boat. They tried to escape nursing through the nurse practitioner door and found out that now they have all this debt and they feel trapped. So once again, if you are feeling trapped, if you're feeling restless, if you feel like something has to change, if you feel like you would like to make a bigger difference in the world and you'd like to have more flexibility and more balance in your life, we got the chisel, right, Jessica? We got the chisel.
And it's outside. It's not the next door.
And we're going to tell you which wall to chisel through to break free. We're not going to lead you to the wrong cell wall.
It's outside the box. It's not in the torture chamber next door.
We help you chisel outside the box so that you can get out where the sky is blue, okay? And you can actually find joy in what it is that you do for a living, make the kind of living that affords you the life that you want. One big question, and we'll wrap up with this, but a question that a couple of nurses have asked me this past week, is it possible to sustain the lifestyle that you have as a nurse, as a coach?
No, it's not possible because you're going to exceed it. Like you are exceed the lifestyle that you have as a nurse. You cannot help but go above and beyond because you feel amazing. You're supported in your health. You are paying it forward. You are loving everything about it. And when you're flowing from that cup of abundance, your life gets bigger than you ever imagined. And my life has already exceeded a 17-year nursing career in 1 year of coaching.
I want to add to that because there's a mentality because nurses go to work. There's trading dollars for hours, right? Is that, and that's literally you work for hour, you get paid a wage, right? And that's kind of how it works. This is so much more. So you're not trading dollars for hours.
I love that you said that, Todd, because that's kind of where I wanted to go with Zuckerberg, is he doesn't think in terms of hours. He has a lot of zeros on every single hour, that he's earning. And it's not because he's working. He's getting those zeros deposited in his bank account while he's sleeping. Okay. And what we're talking about is shifting the way we think so that we think, oh, you know what? You can make a living without making it dependent on every single one of your hours. That's kind of crazy talk. That's kind of crazy, when you're thinking inside the box, but we're outside the box. And we would absolutely love to introduce you to what the world looks like on the outside. Any final thoughts, Shelly?
Don't go to school. Drop out right now.
Stop the madness.
You're way too cool for school, babe. You just need to keep an open mind, explore the door that might set you free.
Call the person.
Sign up for school.
Call the person that shared this video with you because they have the chisel and they can help you. All right, guys. Thanks again for having fun as we talk about, do you need to go back to school? Have a good one.